Matt Sell, Electrical, Electricians Guide to Fire Alarms. I'm going to do, it's either going to be on the end of another video or it's going to be a separate video for calculating battery standby times. Doing as little editing on this as possible, so which is probably becoming apparent. Right, so I'm going to throw you into Skycam and we're going to do some sums. Okay. Like there, don't I? There we go. There's my belly. Right, so on the other vid, we had our quiescent, so that's our panels resting, and that was 0.035 amps, and then our alarm load was 0.085 amps. Right, so the formula I use for this is out of the regs. I do a slightly nudged around version of it, which I don't know, I just find it a bit easier. So right, we call battery load C-min, which is confusing because you're thinking that's going to be like your 0.95 or the horrible grade muck, but no, it is our battery standby time. Right, so that is equal to 1.25, which gives us a bit of temperature differential, and that is times our standby time, which I'm going to call T. That is times our quiescent load. Then that is plus our what do you call it, derating factor, right? So age of batteries, that kind of thing. Yeah, they wear out, they last about 5 years. So we tend to use 1.75. So because it's a derating factor for batteries, we want them to go bigger, whereas for derating for like cable calcs, you kind of go the other way, don't you? You end up carrying less. That times our alarm load, and that is then times 0.5. Right, so reason being for that is, I've got to close all of those. Cool, so what we have here, battery load size 1.25, which is a temperature differential. In here we are calculating our standby time, so we're going to do 24 hours for this. So that is the panel turns itself off or loses mains and the batteries hang in there for 24 hours, times our quiescent current, so our resting current. So everything's just sat there, nothing's detected any fire or anything, it's all just sat there being healthy. All right, and then that is added to our derating factor for the batteries, so that's making allowance for the age of them and that kind of thing, times our alarm load, which you got written down there, times 0.5. So that is another time, that is half an hour. The panel needs to be able to last the 24 hours of standby time, plus if in the last minute of that standby time, so 24 hours, it's had no mains, the alarm goes off, it should be able to ring in full alarm for half an hour, which is obviously a bunch of load because it's the sounders and the visual alarm devices and all sorts, which is a bit more load. Okay, so we're going to work through this. So 1.25, that's going to be 24 times our quiescent, so 0.035 plus our derating factor times our alarm load, which is 0.085, and it's times 0.5. Cool. So 0.84. My handwriting's bloody atrocious, and that is 1.75 times 0.085 times 0.5, 0.074. So we're going to add that, add equals 0.91. So then that's going to get times by that 1.25. Which is 1.14 amp hours. So amp hours is obviously how long a battery can run for. So that needs, as a minimum, a battery that can do 1.14 amp hours. What you do is you take that and then just go to the next battery size up. So you're probably looking at a 2 amp hour is the minimum. I'd probably go for that. I mean, batteries aren't super expensive, so you know, you might just go, okay, well, I know I need the minimum of that. I've proven that. That's why of evidence gathering, Section 29 Electricity at Work Act. But your CDM, CDM regulations, you know, anything you're showing, you're working out ahead of time. But, you know, if you're using like the manky old C-Tech panel I've got in my garage, the biggest that can take is 3.2 amp hours. It's probably only going to be £5 in it. So I'll just stick the biggest ones in there. But don't just stick the biggest ones in there without doing these sums, because I could stick enough, that panel will run enough stuff that will use 12 amp hour batteries or 16 amp hour batteries. It's capable of doing it. It's not capable of running that size of battery. So if you know in advance what the battery size is that the panel can take it, and that's actually good working out. But if you are taking over a site, you've measured your quiescent, measured your alarm, done your sums, and you can charge the client £1 million to sort out their battery situation. Once you've got your head around this though, there's a few calculators for it online which you can use to cheat, but don't cheat until you know the basics. Right, peace.